I know we've only known each other for 4 weeks and 3 days, but to me, it seems like 9 weeks and 5 days.
All my passionate plant people and garden enthusiasts. Welcome to the Sunday edition of the Let's Get Growing show here on the Urban Gardener channel. I'm Enoch. I'm your host, and we've got a fun show for you ahead today here on the Sunday edition of the Let's Get Growing show. We got our good friends Khang Starr and Christopher Brandsdal joining with us here just a little bit later on the show for a fun garden roundtable. I think we got them together this time. So it'll be fun. We'll stay tuned definitely for just a little bit here down the road in the show for this really great conversation. We are also in the garden with our good friend Mr. MBC today as well too, coming up here in just a few minutes. Plus jump into the comments there, everybody. We got roll call coming up also here also in just a couple of minutes as well too. So definitely jump in there. Let us know you're here. Let us know where you're growing from, what you got growing on in your garden. I want to hear all about it right there in our comment section there. I'll give you a shout out here for roll call coming up. Also, if you can, right here at the top of the show, let's go ahead and click that thumbs up, hit the like button, as well as subscribe, hit the bell notification too to be notified of all of our upcoming live streams. I swear, we got some great upcoming shows coming up here too that I'm working on coming up. So definitely hit that bell notification and share with all your friends and let them know about the Let's Get Growing show here on the Urban Gardener channel here every Saturday and Sunday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern time for all of you over on the East Coast and other various times from around the world. Thank you all so much for being here too, joining us from all over too. I love to see everybody from all over in other countries and all that sort of stuff. It's so great. Plus, again, big huge shout out to all of you who are watching the replay on your time. Thank you, Team Replay, for being here. And just like all of our folks who are jumping in the comment section right now for roll call, definitely let us know where you are, what you've got growing on in your garden and all of that stuff as well too, because I love hearing all about it right in the comment section down below, or just drop in and say hi. I love to hear from you. Definitely do that for sure. And again, everybody, if you are here, join the conversation coming up here with our guests. Drop in your questions or comments into the chat, and we just might feature them right here on the show. And of course, follow all of our links down below. Got links to our guests, and go support our guests as well too. It's always great when you go and do that and check out what they've got growing on over on their channels, and show them a little bit of support for coming and hanging out with us here on the Let's Get Growing show. So right on, everybody. Here we are, another fun Sunday edition of the show here, and just trying to get things back on track, getting things going. We got, like I mentioned just a moment ago too, we got some great shows that I'm working on, and we're working on booking and getting things done so we can really ramp this up here this summer season coming up here, and have some really great conversations right here on the show here each and every weekend. But yeah, lots and lots growing on. How are things growing on out in your gardens? I just got out and was taking a walk around earlier, as I do most mornings, to go and check things out, look around and see how things are growing in the garden. And things are looking pretty good. I'm trying to right now, we are having probably our first really hot weekend or stretch of days in a way here in Southern Oregon. maybe close to 100 degrees over the next couple of days. So we're out there just trying to make sure that I'm getting out early, making sure everything's getting a good watering before the heat of the day starts coming on throughout the afternoon and all of that, to make sure that they're just well prepared for some of these really, really hot days coming on. And especially too, is I've got still some pretty young seedlings out there and everything. So I'm trying to, I was propping up a few things to maybe, be a little bit of a shade later on or something as it starts to get to the hotter part of the day for some of those younger seedlings and everything too. So we're just trying to get out there, get everything prepared, because it's going to be really, really warm here, as it usually is. In fact, I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen 100 yet over here in Southern Oregon yet, but you can be guaranteed that they're coming, and here we are. Again, I hope everything's going on and going well out in your gardens too, and hope everything's growing really well. I was mentioning yesterday too about our tomatoes that we have out in the garden spaces. I think this might be in so far, and I'm only just saying this based on how the plants are looking right now, versus the last couple of years and everything. But the plants are looking excellent, and they're looking great, and they're growing, and they're, a few of them are really sizing up really well and actually starting to form some of their very first fruits and all of that. So I'm really kind of encouraged about some of our tomatoes this year, which has not been the case really over the last couple of seasons. I mean, I always have some sort of, we grow enough of them to where we have some sort of varieties and things that we always get to have. So I'm always in tomatoes for sure. But to have the amount of varieties and to do the different things is always, the last couple of seasons, been kind of an issue. But this year, I think in every one of them, like I haven't looked at a tomato plant yet that really doesn't look like it's on a good path to some good production this season too. So really encouraged about that. And I also was talking about yesterday with Jay on the show about the peppers. Peppers are my specialty. I try to, I think, because, it's just something, really was one of those first plants I think I really, really started to connect with and understand, and to be able to grow very well. And so I kind of built a system throughout the years that I've been doing it. And I was mentioning yesterday that for some reason, and I think Jay kind of nailed it, is after doing the big series and playlist and everything that I built up and set up yesterday, kind of a culmination of this whole process that I do with all of my peppers. I made this series last year, and then this year I decided not to even follow my own process for growing peppers. I just, with a lot of things going on, got caught and got behind on some things and stuff like that. So, I just kind of planted some things out and came up with this idea that I want to kind of really try to work on a certain type of pepper that I want to grow and everything. And so I didn't follow my own plan. The plants don't look as great as, no, they're probably the worst thing looking out there, which is really crazy, because peppers are usually one of the better things in my garden each and every season. But, you got to go with the flow. You got to go with the way it is, and sometimes things just don't work out the way you want them to. And I've had years and years of just amazing, awesome pepper production throughout our gardens. So, you're due for one every now and then. So so that's for sure. But yeah. So again, hopefully, like I said, hopefully everything's working out for you guys. Jump in there. Let me know. Is there something in your garden growing that's just not growing as well as you had hoped it to be? Is there something that you usually grow pretty well from season to season that you have had an issue with or anything? It's just, like I said, sometimes we just got to go through different things that we're not used to in the garden. And this one just happens to be a pepper year for me. We'll talk a little bit about that, because I know my guests here on the show coming up a little bit later, they're pepper people too. So we'll talk a little bit more about that coming up on the show as well too. Also, again, here I got another red, white, and blue. Yesterday I wore my other red, white, and blue flagged cap. So it's a celebration this weekend here in the United States of America. We're celebrating our 250th birthday. Yes, the United States of America is 250. And we're all celebrating this weekend. Some celebrating in certain ways and others celebrating in other ways, but we're all celebrating here. This just a great anniversary for our country and everything too. So happy 250th birthday to all of our American viewers out there. And hopefully you have a really fun weekend this weekend too, celebrating with all of your friends and family and all of that as well too. So, all right, everybody. Let's go ahead and jump in here too, because before I get to falling too far behind here and start talking away with everybody, let's go ahead and get in here and jump in and do a little bit of roll call. Let's see who's here with us today.
My name is Kevin.
Yeah.
That is my name.
Yeah.
They call me Kevin.
Yeah.
Because that's my name.
Roll call.
All right. It's roll call time. Roll call is the time of the show here where we jump into the comments section and give a little shout out to all of you viewers who are coming and hanging out with us here on the show. And of course, we got to definitely start off our roll call with a big, huge shout out to the J-Bot who was here with us yesterday on the show. Jay, our show facilitator in the chat. Keep an eye out for links and further information on different topics and things that we're talking about throughout the show. And Jay joins us from Huron County, Midwestern Ontario, Canada, in the lee of Lake Huron. Thank you, Jay. Thanks for being here. Thanks for all that you do with the show. Let's see, we've got Look to Nature Homestead in the chat with us saying, what's cracking, gardeners? Checking in from the humid swamps of the southeastern Pennsylvania. Blue skies, lots of heat, and plants are loving life. Currently up potting some Deliz strawberry plants. I love it. We were talking a little bit about the strawberries yesterday too. Definitely great little strawberry addiction for sure. Strawberry plants are loving the fish aminos. Oh, I bet they do. I bet you a lot of your plants are loving those things for sure. We got Sean the gardener in the chat with us as well too, coming and join with us from Cornwall, UK. Thanks, Sean, for being here. Always great to see your name in the conversation. Thank you so much. We've got Colorado Clouds here with us today. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here. It's awesome to see you here with us today. And Rebecca's Garden, good to see you as well. Hello. And then we got Vic Wick Gardens. Hello, good to see you here. Great to have you here on the show with us today. Oh, right on. Excellent. Good to see you, Coach. It's been a little while, but love to see your name as well, too, showing up and popping up in the chat there with us today. Great to have you here with us. Awesome. Thank you so much. We've got Nope. Hello. It's great to have you here. Thanks for being here with us today. Awesome to see you. Michael O'Connor. Howdy. It's Mike from Alabama, North Alabama mountains. Zone burning hot 8A. Awesome. Nice and warm over there as well too, huh? Yeah, like I said, it's getting cooking around here. That's for sure. And I'm 8B, just a little bit over here on the West Coast, but we're inland. We're in an inland valley, so that's what makes us so much hotter than a lot of the other places as well, too. Coach, planting my second round of micro tomatoes in my towers and enjoying a nice stream of garden knowledge. Awesome. Thanks for hanging out with us here while you're out there planting out your micro tomatoes. Awesome. Excellent. And Look to Nature says, just potted up some bittersweet nightshade that I discovered growing on my property. It's toxic decorative from Eurasia, but gorgeous. Yeah, if you can keep it somewhere and it ain't going to be a problem. It's awesome to have some of those kinds of cool looking, interesting plants that probably aren't so nice ultimately, but great to have them anyways, right? Vic Wick Gardens. I have to remove my grapevines from the old deck because we are having the deck rebuilt. Unfortunately, it's the first year it's loaded with fruit and I'm carefully removing grapevines. Oh my, what timing on that, huh? Wow. I'm just getting mine, and I showed everybody with our little clip at the beginning of the show yesterday too. I've got our blueberry grapevines that are just going crazy out there, and getting my first blueberry fruits popping up on them too. So I'm super, super excited about having some fresh blueberries and trying these ones out, because I've had this plant now for a couple of seasons, and this will be the first time I'll actually get to try them out, hopefully, and taste and see if they are as good as they were billed to be, for sure, because they're supposed to be delicious, really good grapes, for sure. Blueberry grapes from Dave Wilson Nursery. So we'll have to check those out. I'll let you all know how they taste, for sure. And Lipton H says, scapes here have been harvested. Let the bulbing begin. Yeah, that's right, too. For some folks in some regions right now, we're already pulling. I was telling my friend who's got all of our garlic over at his place, I'm like, let's get that stuff out. It's time to yank it for us. But I'm sure in some places that the scapes are getting out. You want to, like you said, get those out as soon as they pop up and get that first little curl in them, and they're nice and soft and juicy and really good. Clip those things off, and yeah, that'll help promote some just a little bit more swelling in your bulbs, for sure. Give them the chance to kind of concentrate their energy on that, for sure. And look who's in the chat with everybody. It's Khang Starr, our guest, coming up. Hey, Khang, we'll see you in just a few minutes. All right. And Sean says his dahlias are doing well, considering. Awesome. Becky's Garden says, I have cucumber tomatoes going to do sweet potatoes soon, like a couple of days. Also going to try Anaheim cucumber, or Armenian cucumber. I was thinking Anaheim, like peppers. Armenian cucumber. I've got some Armenians I'm growing out this year. I grow them every couple of years or so, and I thought I'd give them a try again this year. So we got some Armenians out in my garden too. All right. Michael says, I got the surprise of my life today. My gold plum tree. I thought I lost fruit for the year. Has one nice plum on it. It made my day. Yeah. I don't know if you guys remember, as we were dealing with some of the late freeze and frost that we had here in Southern Oregon, I lost pretty much all of the pears again. That pear tree is literally, I don't know if I'll ever eat a pear off of that thing ever, but we lost all the pears off of it because of it. I lost a bunch of the apples and things that we had. It really burnt up my fig trees really bad. But the one that I always look forward to every year is pumping out and doing great, and went right through it without a problem. I was worried, but it was my peaches. I got a frost peach tree out there, and the peaches are going really, really well. And let's see here. My 30-foot in-ground mint patch is looking stellar. In-ground mint patches are amazing, but I only recommend this if you own Olympics, right? Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, that, or you've just got a place that could just be a patch and it's just secluded, well off somewhere, all on its own, that sort of thing, and it's just for mints and stuff like that. That's probably fine. Just don't put those mints in the ground anywhere near anything else that you want to grow in your garden space or anything, because they will take over for sure. I do all of mine in containers. Right on. Let's see here. We got our good friend Adam. Yes, that's right. He's joining us from right up the road from me here in Southern Oregon in Central Point. He says he's listening while finishing up a couple of errands. See, there you go. You're running around doing some errands, or you're out in the garden and you're planting some things out, or you're doing other garden chores. Perfect opportunity to be able to set us on and listen in to what we've got going on here on the show. Khang's in the conversation saying, Zone 8A, I'm growing lots of Thai basil, super hot peppers, lots of figs, pears, and apples. Right on. Nope. Says, I have a serrano pepper. It's going in the ground today. It's in the shade. It's flowering now. Probably should have put it in the ground last week. I know. Most of my things I should have put in the ground a few weeks before, but don't be discouraged. Plants will surprise you. I've had this happen so many times where I've worried about being late or doing things, and they've done really well anyways. Excellent. We've got Grow It Alaska here with us as well too. Great to see you. Great to have you here in the conversation with us today. Awesome. And look at that. He's in the chat. There he is. There's our man Christopher as well too. Our other guest coming up here in just a few minutes. I got to get going. We're going to be running late, guys. I'm sorry here, but yeah, let's get moving along here real quick. Nope. Says, Look to Nature says, I think about growing giant sunflowers with electric culture to pick up better Wi-Fi signals. That's probably what it's probably about the benefit you're going to get from that for sure. Maybe you could pick up some extra Wi-Fi or something. It'll boost it a little bit for you or something. I like that. That's great. Ooh, let's see. Ophelia Do. I don't know if I got that. Ophelia Do, right? How are you doing? Great to see you here today. Thanks for coming in and joining with us and hanging out with us here on the show. Awesome to have you here. Right on. We've got Frank with us here, joining us from Vermont. Also, great to see you. Janet's in the conversation as well from Texas Hill Country in 9A. High in the 90s, though. Good rain, giving good fresh water. Let's see. Michael says, my blueberries are finally ripening. My blackberries are faster ripening this year. Awesome. Excellent. Right on. And Rebecca's Garden says, it's been so hot. I've been delaying getting some in ground. It has to be evening time for me. Yeah. And kind of like I was saying earlier too, I've got some little tiny seedlings, some smaller things that are out there. The big thing I try to do is I'll prop some things up there or whatever I've got to do to try to create some shade, that's going to happen a little bit more later, getting through that stretch of the day where things are just going to get really hot and all of that, just to really protect those little babies. Right on, everybody. Excellent. Thank you all for jumping into our conversation today. Keep the comments coming, keep the questions coming for our guests coming up here in just a little bit. But right now it's time to go and catch up with our good friend, Mr. MBC. He's in the garden, and I think he's got a little bit. And this is, again, too, we had Dr. Jeff on last week. It was such a timely conversation of things going on in my life. Mark sent me this segment, too, and I was like, you know what? I just dealt with this, too. So this is probably good for everybody else as well, too. So let's jump in the garden, see what's up with Mr. MBC.
Hey guys, how you doing? It's Mark Boucher-Colbert here, NBC. You're in the garden with NBC. Let's jump right in to hose repair. Let's talk about hose repair because I don't know about you, but I'm moving hoses here, there, and everywhere in the garden this time of year. And a lot of times, something like this will happen. This is from a 100-foot hose. So there's basically like 98 feet of good hose left and a 2-foot section that got mangled. So what are we going to do with this? We're going to be the helpless American consumers and just throw it away and buy a new one? No, we are going to fix it ourselves. And knowing how to fix a hose also allows you to make customizable sizes, right? Let's say we just need a 2-foot section for some purpose in the garden, something to fill a bucket with. We don't want the whole huge long thing. We can make hoses ourselves from old pieces, or even getting a new hose and cutting it up to the size we want. And we make 2 short hoses out of 1 long one, et cetera, et cetera. To do that, we're gonna need a number of fittings. And a fitting basically is something like this. I'm showing metal fittings here. They also come in plastic. Let's see, I got a plastic fitting here, but I prefer the metal just because of the additional durability. There's going to be a part that actually inserts into the hose, and there's usually going to be some kind of a collar, and those are going to fit together to ensure a tight fit. You've got all kinds. You can get a hose mender, which will just take care of a cut somewhere along the midsection and join 2 pieces of a hose. Or you can get what's called male or female threads. I'll let you use your imagination to figure out why they're called that. but kind of a receptacle thread or something to receive threads, or that is threaded. I guess they're both threaded. One's just threaded inside, one's threaded on the outside. That will allow you to fix whatever end of the hose you need. Some of them have a screw-on collar, and let's try that now. So basically what I'm going to do to make a hose repair, I'm going to need some sharp garden clippers. Fortunately, as gardeners, we tend to have these because you're going to want some kind of a clean cut, right? You're going to want to squeeze the hose and make a nice, clean, straight cut if you can. In the summer, this is not always a problem. It's hot outside and you can get the hose usually pretty flexible just by leaving it in the sun. In the cooler months, if I'm repairing things in the spring or maybe even over the winter, I sometimes bring a thermos of hot water with me, and I'm going to be dipping the hose in the hot water to make it more flexible and able to receive this. Usually what you can do with these end pieces, there's some kind of a taper to them, and they have little collars on them that grip as you go in. So once you put this thing in, it can be difficult, as you would expect or hope, to get it out again. The problem I can see with this built-in collar already is that, as opposed to this, if I put this in and I don't like it in there, I can cut the hose with a sharp utility knife or with the blade of my clipper, kind of like this. I can slit the hose, cut it lower, and then slit it and take that off and redo it. With this kind of a collar, it's built into the piece, and it's going to be a little harder to get access to the hose. Let's just try this. To make this work, we're going to need to put the collar on first, right, with this kind of hose, and in the correct direction so that we have the threads ready to thread onto here. It's funny how when you're doing even small little repairs like this, there's a lot of ways this can go wrong. Like, let's say you put it on like this, and then you get to this section and you've inserted it in, then you try to make it fit, and you're like, oh gosh, darn it. So you want to kind of think it through before you get too committed to any one thing. Think through how your repair is going to work. All right, I think we have the threads facing correctly. Now I'm going to kind of jam this thing in and wiggle it and let the hose advance up that neck. Now, because I'm just making a short section here, I could have put this on the other end, right? If I don't have anything on the other end, I could just thread it on the other end if I make a mistake, but it's probably best to think things through sooner rather than later. I'm going to tighten up that collar, and it should make a nice tight fit, right? We want that to, there may be some leakage. I'll sometimes have a little leakage from a hose repair, but I'm not that worried about it, especially if it's not being left on all the time. If I'm only running water through it, like with a timer or something, and then the water, when the water's off, there's no standing pressure in the hose. I always advise putting timers at the source as well, so that you don't have the water pressure through this hose at all times or for long periods of time when the water isn't running to your garden. Because as you can see here, hoses have a number of layers, right? The outside layer is really just that. There's also an inside plastic layer, and then this one has a fiber mesh to reinforce and strengthen. And if you keep pressure on hoses that really aren't designed to have the standing water pressure, you'll sometimes get these bubbles and boils, weakening of the cell wall, not the cell wall, the wall of the hose. And that eventually will lead to some kind of a rupture. So whether your lawnmower does it for you or just pressure does it, you can get a rupture. So you want to keep the pressure off and just allow the hose to be a pass-through. Let's talk about diameter too. We didn't talk about that. I have two different hoses here. Let's compare clean cut to clean cut. And we're going to see two different diameters here. And why is that important? Why are hoses different diameters? Well, the bigger a hose is, the less friction than it'll be as the water runs through it. So you're going to get more water pressure transferred from point A, end of hose, to point B, whatever kind of implement you're using to spray. So this is a 3/4 inch diameter hose, and you would find that out by measuring the inside diameter, right? You can see the wall is kind of thick on this hose. It actually has a measurement itself, and the inside diameter of this, if I measure carefully, I can see that it's 3/4, and if I go from outside to outside, it's about 1 inch. So we're going to be gaining 2/8 on either, 1/8 on either side to make the whole thing 1 inch. We're talking about 3/4 is the inside diameter. That's a pretty big hose, pretty wide one. Most people have 5/8, which is what this one is. That's kind of a standard. And you'll see with this packaging, this, for example, is for a 5/8 inch hose. Here are some of these brass ones that I have. This one for hose repair says 3/4 and 5/8, 5/8 and 3/4. So it's kind of multi-purpose. Let's talk about this other style where we have a metal collar and a plug. Now so I have a female end here. I want a male to match. So I'm going to do this to make a short hose. You can see these things are kind of hooked together with a plastic tab. Here's where your clippers come in handy again to cut that and release parts. All right, I have a sleeve and I have a plug. The sleeve has 2 screws that need a Phillips head screwdriver, which I have here. That's the one with the cross section compared to a flathead screwdriver, which we'll use in a minute anyway. So I just take off the screws, open up that sleeve. You can either fully take them out, or sometimes you can leave them in and just make the collar big enough to slide over the hose. If you want to slide the collar, you slide it on obviously first before you put the plug in. Let's see if it'll go. Sometimes, it'll gap. If you can see there's a gap that opens up and you can slide it on. We'll wiggle it in, pressure it in, heat it up maybe if we need to expand the hose. Get the collar up close to the plug and retighten. Tighten a little bit on one side first, tighten a little bit on the other, then go back. You always want to be careful when using a screwdriver because you're putting pressure on it. This is a perfect way to perforate your hand. So maybe I'm not using good modeling. You might want to just do it on a hard surface. How about that? That way when you're pressing down, you have less chance of hurting yourself. I have gotten some injuries to my hands with screwdrivers. The points are very sharp. So just be advised that when you're putting pressure, I'll tighten it up now. Unfortunately, I don't have a spigot nearby to water test this, but these products work great. Look at that, I made a mini little hose. And I know I've got the right parts because they can thread together very nicely. It's kind of like that, the mythological Ouroboros, the snake that is eating its tail, right? Isn't that cute? To me, this is an essential skill, just learning how to take care of stuff, repair things, and not have to be buying stuff and throwing things out. Especially like we're talking about, I've got a 100-foot hose, the mower went over this, and now I've got a 98-foot hose that is still perfectly good, perfectly usable. And just knowing some of these simple techniques, I can fix this stuff. Let's talk about one more scenario though. I have, especially with the bigger hoses, the 3/4 inch ones, I've used some of these collars, and even though the plug part fits in, here's let me show you the hose repair. It would just have like a double plug with a meeting in the middle. So you'd put this in. Now I can tell right away. Let's see, this one is, oh gosh, this one says for 5/8 and 3/4 inch hose, but I can already see this is way too loose. This isn't gonna be a good, if it's not a good strong fit going in, and if it's got wiggle and you can pull back in and out, I wouldn't even try this. I'd go look for one that's specifically for 3/4 inch. But let's just say we're gonna do this. And I've encountered the problem where I come to get this collar and I try to get it on and it really doesn't fit the hose. The outside diameter is just too big for this collar. Then you're gonna need a hose clamp. These are these ingenious little devices that have like a little screw inside, and the screw interacts with these little notches on the band. So you're gonna have a flat blade screwdriver here. Get it into the slot. You can open it by turning it to the left. That will increase the diameter. You can actually open it so much that the little tab comes right out. Let's try to do that. Now these things are kind of devilish in terms of keeping that flat blade inside the slot. So you can also get a hex driver if you have one, or a socket driver, I mean. See, that can come right open. You could put that around something, and then you've just got to kind of have enough room just to get it started again. Get it into the kind of screw mechanism in there, and then start turning it to the right, and that will tighten it. And there's a lot of room, there's a lot of slippage with this. So again, protect your hands, maybe wear a glove, put it on a different surface. And then you're just gonna tighten that up around the hose. So, you know, in this case, let's put this on. Yeah, now it's stuck on here, of course. See, I got it just big enough to fit on here. I'm gonna get it. I put the plug in, of course, like I said, I'd want a tighter fit, but then I can really crank down on this hose clamp. And slips out, be careful. Flat blade screwdrivers can also give you damage. So this is gonna put a lot of squeeze on that hose. It might actually even make this acceptable. I would expect some leaking from this though, just because it didn't have a tight fit to start with. But anyway, in a pinch, it would do. So, you know, since it's the beginning of the summer, the hot weather season, I like to just go to the hardware store and make sure I have one of each of these on hand. A joiner for a break in between the hose, a female end that has the receptacle end there, and a male end that has the thread visible. And then you will be in a position to fix or make hose pieces, whatever you need to do. Again, there's some cheaper versions in plastic, but not a big fan of plastic when it comes to durability. So I go with the metal. I hope that's helpful. I hope you're feeling empowered in terms of just doing some basic fixes. We need to become a nation of fixers. We can't just be throwing crap out, right? This is not how it is. So as gardeners especially, we're concerned with sustainability. We want to make a better planet. Let's learn to fix the things that we have so that they last for a really long time and we feel empowered and keep more of our money for the things we like the seeds and the plants and the things that we love and that will nourish us. Hoses, important but not so beautiful. Let's just keep them functional, right? Look at that. The circle of life, right? We make the material and then we keep it going by fixing it. Bye.
Hello, let's get growing live gardening community. I'm Charles Malky, biologist and co-founder of Ivy Organic brand products. Ivy Organic is based on whitewashing, a time-tested way to protect plants from summer sunburn, winter sun scald, pests, transplant shock, and environmental stresses. Unlike latex or tar-based products that crack, peel, and leave residue on your soil indefinitely, Ivy Organic is truly organic and a healthier alternative. It dries on porous, allowing plants to breathe and heal naturally without rotting. Also ideal for protecting your pruning and grafting wounds. Available in white for maximum reflection or natural tones like brown, green, gray, and grayish. Ivory Organic protects while blending beautifully with your landscape. Choose from the whitewash oil-free formula or the 3-in-1 plant guard made with natural oils to help repel insects and rodents. Protect your plants the smart, organic way with Ivory Organic. Learn more at ivoryorganics.com and wishing you all happy gardening.
Oh, got to make sure I put myself back on there. Hey, everybody, welcome back. Welcome back. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you to Ivy Organics for, again, we premiered this yesterday, the new Ivy Organic ad for the show today, too. So that's great. So go over and check out ivorganics.com. And go get some of that 3-in-1 plant guard there over at ivorganics.com and use our promo code GROW10, GROW10, and get 10% off over there. And also, too, again, thanks, Mark, for such a great in the garden. We all need a good garden lesson. And it is that time of year also, too, where and he was talking about, keeping pressure inside of the hose, as you have it on and everything. This was the issue. I try to remember to get back to the thing and turn off my hose, and I ended up leaving the pressure on, and it was an older hose and all of that, and that thing bubbled up in the sun, in the heat, and just popped throughout some part of the day there, and just started spraying and getting everywhere. And I wasn't even home. My neighbor had to get out and turn the thing off for me and everything too, but I had to get out there and do a little bit of a hose repair too. Luckily it was, only like the where it popped and swelled up on the hose too was only maybe about a foot or two down from where the end of the hose was. So I only lost about a foot or two of the hose because I just kind of clipped it off there, and then did the repair at that end there and reset everything up too. But he was also showing those ones too where you can also do the repair. Say it happens like you got a 50-foot hose and you get a burst in the middle of 25 feet, in the middle of the hose, and you can kind of cut it off right there, cut out the burst or whatever, and then also do that. They have ones where you can just kind of do and clamp them both together as well too, like that too, so you can seal them right up without having to do the male and female ends on them too. Do it either way. They have that one as well too. I want to mention I have used one of those on one of my other hoses, but like Mark says, we got hoses and gardens, could be something you spend and buy and do all that sort of stuff, and it's best to just kind of repair and take care of the ones that we got if it's possible, in order to kind of not have to continue to buy them. And especially for places where it's really, really hot and you might be just like me and you're forgetful sometimes and you leave that pressure on, I'm telling you, those things get worn out real quick in that scenario. So, all right, everybody, here we are. Let's get going today. We've got my guests hanging out and waiting in the back here, just making them wait and wait and wait. But here we go. Let's get our good friends on with us here for a really fun garden roundtable here on the show. All right. Let's welcome to the show. Let's get on here. Wait a minute. Where are we at? Oh, there we are. There's Christopher Brandsdal joining us all the way from the mountains of Norway. How's it going, buddy? And as well, too, we got our other buddy, Khang Starr. He's with us this time. Yay! We got Khang with us. Awesome, guys. Great to have you all here with me today. How's it going? How about you, Chris? How's everything going over there?
Everything is fine. As usual, hectic,
busy, lots and lots going on.
A lot of things going on.
Wonderful. Awesome. Well, thanks for taking time out of your hectic, I'm sure it's getting pretty late over there. Your hectic evening, I guess, right?
This is first priority. First priority every time.
There you go. Perfect. I love it. And Khang, we got you with us this time. Excellent, excellent, excellent. How you doing over there down in Texas? Is it warming up or what?
Oh man, it's very warm. I just came outside to check on my garden. I'm sweating already. You can see.
Yeah, I know. I was too for as early as I thought. I was like, oh man, it's already cooking out here. I like, man,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, we're expecting maybe close to 100. It might hit 100. We're not sure
Oh
yet.
man.
Over today and tomorrow as well too. So we'll see where things go. But it's starting to cook for us here in Southern Oregon.
We have 50 Fahrenheit.
50 Fahrenheit?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's nice and cool.
Rain and 50 Fahrenheit.
Oh
Wow.
my.
That's cold for us, Chris. We're gonna have to bust out the bubble jackets.
Yeah, I don't even know if we're gonna hit 50 overnights anymore.
No more.
We are almost down to freezing.
Oh my.
Man.
You poor guy up there, man. You got
At
least it's amazingly beautiful where you live though, right? You have that going for you.
You kind of get tired of that in the end. You kind of want some weather.
Yeah, I suppose that's true as well too. It's always those who live in their, you can go visit a place, right? You can go on vacation and go visit a place and be like, oh, this is amazing, this is wonderful, and then you talk to some locals and they're like,
Yeah, but you don't need to worry about watering. That's the nice thing.
Yeah, that is true too. That's right. You ain't got to worry about your hoses, right?
We don't use water.
No, I bet. Right on. So let's see here. It's been a little while since we've talked to you, Khang. How things been going down there? The season getting going good. I saw you in the comments earlier talking about you got a bunch of all great stuff growing and all of that. So everything's kind of growing along really well this year.
Yeah, I started out, every season before March arrives, I would propagate basil in my, just like a little cup. And then by late March, I put them outside, and now it's like a jungle. And from just 2 little branches, and I actually got those for free, because we have Vietnamese restaurants here, and if you order the soups, the Vietnamese noodle soups, they always give you this fresh basil. And then I always save those branches and I'll propagate them. And then by springtime, I will have so much basil. I mean, my garden is like, it's just so full. I don't think I can probably give to 10 restaurants and they can't use them all.
Oh, wow. That's so great. I love it too, though. Taking those, and I always see them at the store too. Like, you get the fresh, they're in the, they're selling them so you can take them home and cut them up and everything and cook with them as, really, really fresh plants. But man, they still got the roots on there. You just pop those into some, then you can get them growing again and start a whole new plant, right?
Yeah, and the good thing is, starting them from seed, they grow very fresh branches. And so it takes a while for them to mature and become really big. But if you propagate them, the branches are already thick and strong. And so they become very, very woody in like 2 to 3 months. And they look like a little tree. I mean, like my basil look like little trees. They're not little herbs anymore. So they're enormous.
Do they? So they get woody and all that, like you're saying?
They get super woody, and you you can't even cut into
just
them.
Never grown them that long, I suppose. So yeah.
So try to propagate them next year if you can. You're gonna see that they become so woody that they look like little shrub. Like this big shrub that you grow. And when you use a pruner to cut them, I mean, you really need to put pressure onto them.
They get tough, huh? See here real quick, Khang. Serena is in the comments. They're asking, where is Khang Starr from?
I am from Dallas, Texas, everyone.
The clue is in his name. That's right. He's from the Lone Star State of Texas.
The Lone Star State. That's right.
Right on. Yeah. And so right on. Christopher, nice and cool. It's wet out there, all that sort of stuff. But you know what? You are so so into all of this. You've built out rooms. You're in a room that you've built specifically so that you can grow things and do things and all that sort of stuff. And are you getting things going in your grow room?
Yeah, well, the grow room has been going for a year now, and it's the first time that I haven't had pest problem in a year straight.
Woo!
So
Really?
so I almost don't dare going into the room. Because
You got windows on it that you can peer in?
Yeah, I have
Oh,
windows,
things
but I'm
going in
still
there.
afraid every time, because when I need to go to the room to water, I need to go in from the outside. There's no
Yeah.
in-house access, so I
Yeah.
need to go out and over the lawn and then into the grow room. And
Oh
I'm
my.
always so scared. So now
Yeah.
I take off my shoes outside and I leave them outside, and I take a big leap in just to make sure that I don't bring my shoes in.
Yeah.
You need a quarantine room, Chris.
That's what I was
Yeah.
saying. Is like, you ever seen those science labs, right? You know, the science
Yeah.
labs where you gotta you go into this room before you go into the room, and it like blows you off. You gotta put your arms out, and it's all
Sanitize down everything. The clean room.
That's exactly how it feels. And
put on a white suit and a helmet and all of that.
It's my new mission to Mars. It's what I do here. So yeah, I'm getting very paranoid, to be honest. I'm afraid of losing everything now, because the grow room is doing fantastic, and I think that's because I haven't paid attention and the plants haven't been bugged by me all winter. They have kind of just done their thing. They have only gotten water and some nutrients, and that's about it. I haven't pruned anything. I haven't done any maintenance at all. Everything has kind of just grown into each other, and
Wow.
It's kind of nice. But I've been traveling 11 or 12 weeks since New Year's for work. So
wow.
it just hasn't been the time for me to do anything, because when you're away so much, you kind of can't do anything. So this is actually the first time in 15 years, I think, that I haven't started seeds for this season. So I have nothing going outside. I have a few things going outside, but nothing huge planned. I'm going to move some of my peppers out into the greenhouse. And I have gotten a couple of fig trees that I'm going to plant out, because I think, as we spoke last time, I think that day I discovered that the mice had completely eaten my fig tree that I had in the greenhouse.
Mice completely ate your fig tree.
Well, they didn't eat the tree exactly, but they took all the bark. So and when you lose all the bark, then
that's it. It's kind of
the fig tree seems to survive if it only dies back in the wintertime. But if the rodents get in and they eat down in the crown, they just don't come back at all. It seems like it's my experience.
Yikes.
But I have gotten some white Madeira. Could that be the name of a fig?
Yeah, that's one of them.
It's supposed to be a really good one. And it's probably not supposed to live here, so I'm going to try it anyway. I've gotten 2 trees of that, so I'm going to see if I can get that into the greenhouse this summer, along with a couple of peppers and some melons that I have, but not much this year. So
Jay was asking, how are things in the greenhouse? So that's pretty much the grow season then for the greenhouse then, right?
The greenhouse is in a year where I really don't know what to do with it still. I was speaking about that last time also. The greenhouse is getting old. The sheets on the greenhouse are about 20 years old now, and I think they should last about 20 years. So it's almost close to closing time for this greenhouse. So I'm wondering what I should do next with it, but I'm not going to do any huge plans inside the greenhouse until I figure out if I'm going to just buy a new one or replace the plates that I have on it right now, or what I should do.
Big decisions to make, huh?
Yeah, but it kind of is, because if I wanted to change all the plates, it was almost costing. I think it was almost exactly the same price as buying a new greenhouse. So that's why it's the polycarbonate plates, or what they call sheets. They are really expensive. So nothing big outside this summer, but indoors.
But looking forward to next summer though too, if you really want to kind of have a different summer than you're having this year and grow more and do all that sort of stuff. It's kind of like you gotta start, thinking about that sort of stuff as far as that goes, huh?
Yeah, but I'm going to do some electronics this summer in the greenhouse. I'm actually, as we started it up here, I was sitting here working on my computer for the greenhouse for the watering and ventilation and everything. So I'm just gonna rip out everything in the greenhouse except a couple of things, and then I'm just gonna rebuild the electronics because then I have space for it. So I'm gonna do that instead this summer, I think.
Right on. Excellent. So, how are things going, Kang, down over at the orchard?
On the farm?
Yeah, on the
you know
farm.
what?
I call it orchard. You got all them trees and everything growing and everything.
Yeah, I made my way out there 2 weeks ago to try to clean up. Man, it was madness because we've gotten a lot of rain this year. And every time there's a lot of rain, the grass just grows like wild, crazy. And so I went out there to clean up. But there's so many wild flowers that are just all over the place. And I didn't want to cut them down, so I had to cut around them. But I have my peach tree is growing like crazy, but for some reason I have they call it the Rose Princess nectarine. This is my first time growing it. It's been a few years.
Yeah.
There's lots of flowers, but there's never a fruit. And then I was growing donut peach. There are fruits everywhere, but the animals out there just ate them all. Then I had a bunch of apple trees, pear trees, and then I grew some jujubes. Oh man, those jujubes are just ridiculous. If you
ridiculous, what do you mean?
Yeah, if you haven't grown jujubes, they are just the wildest thing ever. I mean, once they're established, you don't have to water them at all. They literally go look for their own water, and I mean they're really drought tolerant. And so
we are talking like in ground growing though, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
There are fruits everywhere.
Wow.
And so my nectarine, it's huge, but no fruits yet. So maybe next year.
Oh man. Yeah. Peaches and nectarines and those sort of things are like my favorite. And as I was talking about earlier, and it was probably around the time that Chris was on with us last when we were talking about, I had like this real late frost that happened this year. And I was mentioning that a little bit earlier too, is that it wiped out pretty much everything on my pear tree for sure. Didn't get any fruits off of that. And then my apple tree, I would say that there's still a few, like a handful of apples on them, but most of them really kind of got hit by that. And then my big worry was my peach tree, because that's one that's one that gives me produces so well every year now. It's my favorite. I love peaches and that sort of thing. So I was really worried about that one, but it's a champ. It's out there like no problem. And I think that's probably why they call it a frost peach. I don't know. Because it's certainly fitting to its name, because it survived all of that stuff without really too much of a problem. But and my fig trees just got like, oh man, because they were already producing a bunch of leaves and everything. It was getting warm enough, and they were just like, oh, let's stretch out, let's produce a bunch of leaves. And then this freeze happens and just burn off almost all the leaves off of each of the fig trees. But if you go out there and look at them now, it looks like nothing ever happened to them.
Yeah, I got a lot of fig trees going on right now. And the thing I love about figs is like I took a cutting from last year. It fruited the same year. And then this year it fruited even more, and now it looks like a pretty big tree. One of the fastest growing one that I tested was the what was it? Oh my gosh! I think it's the Ronde Bordeaux or something like that. You ever heard of that one?
Yes. That's the one I still want to get a hold of, man. I've been.
I
hear about that all.
I got a ton of them.
Yeah, I've been hearing about that one over the last couple of seasons, and I've been like, I got to get that one out there because
they produce so early.
Yeah, I definitely would love to try that one for sure. But the one thing I was really going to reach out to you for though too, especially in this one, is pears, because this is what I got to really do. Is I got to do some grafting, and I got to get trying some stuff, because this is the thing you've recommended to me before. Other people have recommended it to me as well too. Is just to graft some other varieties of pears on there too, in order to kind of maybe help boost some of its pollination and production and things like that. But I don't know. I mean, I really that freeze. It wasn't a frost. I mean, we had a really hard freeze. Just really did it in for me this year. So I think that's probably my goal. Is just to get a couple of other varieties on there, get it all set up, and hopefully get those, grafted on and holding on really good for next season, and maybe see if that'll be helpful or not.
Yeah.
You have any
for the pears,
recommendations for some good pears?
Yeah, pears, it doesn't matter how cold it is. I think it can live down to -10 degrees, so it's fine.
Yep.
One pear that I tested, Chris, you're gonna like this, is it's called the Orient pear. I don't know if it's just in the name. I don't know if it's an Asian pear or not, but it's called Orient pear.
Okay.
And I took one graft of those and I grafted on my tree. Man, that thing grows so crazy that
so you got like this one graft branch that's all like
exactly. It's just one graft that it looks like a tree by itself while my tree is still small, and I have to cut it back because it's so rigorous. I think I might have to chop that off because it is just too much. It's one of those fastest growing tree I've ever seen of all the grafts that I've ever done. It's crazy.
Wow. Yeah. That's it. You can imagine, like, say at a plant or a tree like that too. And people would be wondering what's going on with that tree, right? it's got a whole tree. It's growing crazy over here. And then the other ones are just kind of doing their thing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Maybe it could just take over the whole tree and just eventually conquer out the other grafts, or?
Yeah, that's the problem. If you have multiple grafts, you want them all to grow about the same, because if you let one take over, it'll take all the energy away and slow the other ones down.
Yeah.
Another thing I was trying to tell Chris is I grew an apple tree from a seed, I think maybe 3 to 4 years ago. And and as it was growing, I chopped the top of it off and I grafted onto my mature apple tree, and it finally fruited this year.
Oh.
Actually, it produced flowers this year, but the original tree is still small.
Yeah.
But the grafted piece is enormous. So
wow.
I'm gonna test again in the future, to see if growing from seed is slower than taking the piece off of that seed and put it onto a mature tree.
Yeah. But it's also interesting what it would taste like once you get fruit.
Yeah, I'm so excited. We have a ton of flowers right now. So, and then another thing, I told you guys last year, right? I grafted around 17 varieties of apples onto my apple tree. Right now, the flowers started in March. There's a few branches that are still flowering right now. So it keeps flowering every month. There's flowers. So I might get flowers all the way to the end of the season or something like that.
But that just means that you're going to get ripe apples at different times then, right?
Yeah. That's so cool.
See, but that's what's awesome about doing that sort of thing, is that aspect of it, right? That we can, not just have a variety or a bunch of different types of these fruits growing on the trees, but we can get the ones that, mature at different times throughout the season, so that we're in whatever fruit throughout the season. Yeah. That's just really awesome. Excellent. I was mentioning earlier too, let's talk a little bit peppers. How are peppers going, Khang? I know you mentioned in your comment earlier you got a bunch of super hots and all that sort of stuff. Peppers growing really well this year.
Yeah, my peppers are going mad right now. I'm growing the Khang Starr white ties. I mean, all over the garden. They produce like crazy. And so I make a lot of dishes out of that variety. So I always grow a bunch of them. And then last year I grew 2 varieties indoors, the chocolate primo tally, and then I also grew a death spiral. And I was like, you know what? These might look good if I cross them. And so I crossed them.
Yeah.
So I have a hybrid that I'm growing right now.
So you're still waiting on pods and stuff to see how well it turned out and everything. But that'd be great.
They're about to cross.
They say that chocolate primatali, barring what we know of that Pepper X, which we don't know yet, right? But that chocolate primatali is supposed to be even hotter than the Carolina Reaper, even, right?
I mean, they're pretty hot. I can't tell. if they're past a habanero, I don't know if I can tell which one is hotter anymore.
I know. You've pretty much burnt off those things on the
Yeah.
tongue, right? I can't do that measurement much anymore, huh?
I can't imagine how could it be hotter than a Reaper, So
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so for me though, and I was mentioning earlier, I've learned a bunch of stuff over the years and have created this whole kind of pepper growing system. And in fact, probably half of my system comes from things I learned from my man Khang Starr, for sure. So, and I went through and I thought, oh, you know what? I'm going to make a really good series and just kind of detail and do videos and take people along the whole process of how I, start up and grow, the pepper plants and everything too. And then did that and everything. And I think Jay was right when she mentioned what she thought was the reasoning for this. But this year I didn't do any of it. I didn't follow my own plan at all. I was just like, she's like, well, maybe, after all these years and you put a bunch of energy into that, maybe you got a little burnt out or something. I don't know. It must have been something that was just kind of like, subconsciously happening or something or whatever. But it's probably a lot to do with running behind with a lot of stuff as well. But man, and I did. Here's another thing though, too. I went and dug through some old seeds. So I was like, what? Instead of getting some new stuff, I'm going to go and try to grow some ones that I haven't grown for a while. And so I planted out a bunch of stuff and started some seedlings and everything. But a bunch of them just didn't come up and didn't work out right, whether I did this and that. But I did get at least one plant of about 5 or 6 of my KS varieties. So I do got a bunch of Khang Starr varieties that hopefully will come up. I've kind of got the best ones out there. They're all planted out, so hopefully they'll grow well and everything. So I got a bunch of Khang Starr peppers out in my pepper garden, and then I got a couple of sweets. And then my big thing is that, and I think I mentioned this to Chris last time we were talking, was Chris sent me Sugar Rush peach seeds many years ago.
Yeah, those are nice.
And and I grew them out for a couple of seasons, and then I think it was like in the second season I had a plant where it made these ones, and I call them puckered, but it's like instead of the pointy end's growing up inside of the pod. So it's all like growing inverted into it, so it makes this kind of cool little puckered bell instead of a straight long ahi type, right? And so I was like, I want to try to save seeds from those specifically and see if I can't grow them out and get the plant to produce mostly those types of pods. And so I started on that, I think the next season or whatever, and then I kind of didn't follow through the season after, and those seeds kind of got put away. And so last year I was like, I want to try this again. I had the seeds and they were in there. I'm like, maybe I'll try this again. So I grew some from the original seeds that I had left that Chris sent me, and then some from the ones a couple of seasons later that I had those puckered ones on, and it just to kind of see if the difference and all of that, and to kind of see how true it was in a sense, and really did. It ended up with like maybe I'd say about 40% of the plant produced some nice bell ones I was looking for. So since I got those, I was like, okay, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna breed these down and try to see if I can't get as many generations as I can in the next couple of seasons, and see if I can't really get the plant to really primarily produce those ones, and I don't know, have my own version of Sugar Rush peach, right?
Yeah, that'd be really cool. Here's another thing you could try, Chris and Nina. I used to take seeds out of the pod and then dry them and then save them in the bag. And I find that it does work well, but they don't last very long, like 2-3 years, and they expire. Yeah. But if I dry them inside the pods itself, like naturally dry them, I can keep them like 5 years. They still sprout. Have you tried that?
Yeah. I actually, that's how I actually did with those puckered Sugar Rush from last year, because I was meaning to and again, this is my busy life, right? I was meaning to, I'd take a couple of the pods that I thought were perfect, and I'm going to save seeds from those ones specifically, and I went and set them on the counter. I was like, I'm going to go and cut those out and save the seeds at some point in time, and then couple months go by and I go back to the counter and there they are, all dried and shriveled up and everything. Yeah. But that's what I did was at the beginning of this season when I went to go sow them out was, just pulled them right out of that dried pod and put
mhm.
them in there and everything, and they just popped
Yeah.
up like perfectly and everything. So I could definitely see that being a better strategy, maybe.
But
Yeah.
when you dry them in the pod, how do you dry them in the pod to make sure they don't rot in there?
I put it in a little cup and I just place it under a place where there's plenty of light, like near the window. If there's plenty of light, the mold doesn't seem to grow and they dry
Yeah.
naturally.
Yeah,
But
yeah. So you place it in direct sunlight to make it dry. Yeah.
yeah. And once they're
Yeah.
dry, you can put it away somewhere, and it seems to last so much. Because I have a bag that I labeled 2020, 2020,
Mhm.
and then I took them out the other day and planted them. I was like, oh my gosh, they all came out.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I've gotten seeds from other people who breed or grow their own varieties and stuff too. And they always come in like a bunch of like pepper scrap, so you can see that that's probably what they did was they saved it in a dry seed and kind of pulled it all apart and was, separating them from that point or something too.
Yeah.
So it's probably a good method that people have been using for a while. But again, I think that's a good point though, Chris, is, whether or not they, going to mold or do that sort of thing, but luckily, like I said, I completely forgot those. And maybe because of the way they're shaped, it's got air kind of flow around them a little bit or something is why or something. But
Yeah.
I could see if something was on some flat surface and it was kind of flat to it, you know what I mean? It would start to get moisture and then start to, create a problem or something. So that's probably something in the future, if I'm going to continue to use that method or something like that, is to maybe make sure, like you're saying, like get them in a good airspace, get some good light or something, or maybe even place them on like paper towels or something like that can absorb any sort of moisture
Yeah.
that
If
would
if the pot the if the
accumulate.
pots are thick, because they take a long time to dry the pots, you cut into them. That way the air
Okay.
can,
Get
the
inside
moisture
of
can
them
get
as
out.
well
Yeah,
too.
that's what I usually do. If the peppers are
That's a
so
good
thick
idea
that it might
too.
take a
Yeah.
while, I'll cut into the peppers and then allow them to dry that way. And it doesn't mold if you allow airflow to come through it.
Okay. Yeah. That's even a better idea too. Yeah. Just kind of even give it a little cut, open it up a little
I
bit.
think it would also be okay to use a food dehydrator on the lowest setting. That should
Yeah,
also
that could work too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like just the air dry it. And actually I did that, Chris. I used my meat dehydrator.
Yeah.
And I dry them just as low as possible. It takes a long time, but you can naturally dry them that way.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's right. I need to get a food dehydrator.
Yeah. They're really cheap on Amazon. I got the one with like 5-6 trays.
Yeah. Works pretty well.
It works great. I mean, I've had it for like over 8 years now. It's still working.
Right on.
They
Excellent.
cost maybe like $40, I think.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. I definitely got to try that and get one of those, especially as I am trying to grow multiple generations. Soon as I get a good pod off of these plants, pop them in a dehydrator real quick, dry them down a little bit, and then start those seeds right up and get another plant going. Right on. Excellent. How about you, Chris? What are you mentioned pepper plants that you were going to move or do something with? Which kind of varieties are you playing around with this year?
Yeah, I only have some South American rocotos, so I'm growing the black seed peppers. I think they might be my favorite, although they destroy me. It's it's a really good pepper. It's
Yeah.
such a deep burn on those peppers.
It's such a deep burn.
Yeah, it's hard to explain how the burn is because normally we would use anions. That's the normal thing we would get in Norway, but those are completely destroying me. Those are the ones that I'm not good at taking those cayenne peppers and also jalapenos and bird's eye. All these onions, they are completely destroying me. But I can take habanero better. But the rocotos has a completely different style of burning, in my experience at least. And they're so juicy.
Yeah.
And Yeah, I just really love those peppers, but yeah, I don't need many of them. They are quite strong, but
Yeah.
the taste is just phenomenal on these types of peppers. So those are the ones that are going outside. I've had them in the grow room. I have two in the grow room, and one is chock full of peppers. So I'm thinking of maybe keeping one in the grow room and taking one outside to see how it grows, because I would like to keep one inside also, so I could have
Yeah.
a really good pepper going into the winter season. That's almost more fun to me than to just put it outside now and have one harvest and then throwing away
Yeah.
plants, because it's never going back in. I'll promise you that it's never going back in. So
You learned your lesson, Chris.
yeah, I've done this so many times now, and
Mm.
I just don't have the time to stomach the loss of a full garden.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think it'd be really interesting to, again, is with all these really cool things that you grow inside this grow room and everything too, to have like a perennial pepper plant, maybe, that's in there, and maybe see how many seasons you can keep it going and that sort of thing as well.
Yeah,
But
I want to do that, but I want to do that with the chinense, because
mm,
for me, those are the most robust plants and the simplest one to play around with and do things with.
yeah,
Annuums are also okay, but they are a little bit boring. So I'm thinking of chinense for that. The Bacchitums, they are not designed for playing around with. They just tall and wimpy, and no matter
yeah,
how much sunlight I throw at them, they are still growing very weird. It's
yeah.
like it's kind of a plant that needs other plants for support. So
Hmm.
I'm not sure how they're designed from nature side, but it's a nice plant to grow for some pepper crops, but it's not a many year project. I think it would be a little bit boring maybe. So I enjoy so much more growing a nice chinense, because it gets
Yeah,
so dense and so full, and it looks like a
yeah,
tree. But the Bacchitums are kind of like a
yeah, yeah,
quieting
for sure.
thing
Yeah,
going. So
You
like a
got
yeah,
any?
vine.
yeah.
You got any specific chinenses you're thinking of?
Now, kind of whatever in the
Yeah.
basics. I really like the brown ones. They are, if you get one that's not too overly powered, but the
Mm,
brown and the caramel ones I
mhm.
really like, and also the true yellow ones. They are also nice. The red ones
Yeah.
are good, but they are kind of boring in the long run. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Kind of boring.
Chris wants a challenge.
Yeah. No, but I
Mhm.
really like a pepper called Tasmanian Devil. It's from Tasmania, down
Yeah.
under Australia. So that's a really good one. It's brown with a little bit of caramel.
Yeah.
I've also grown some Copenhagens that are really good, and of course, everything that you grow, Kang, is also really good. But I'm at the point now where I have the problem that you described so well with the old seeds.
Mhm.
I have a
Mhm.
phenomenal collection of pepper seeds,
Yes.
but they
Mhm.
are almost 10 years now,
Yeah.
and no matter how much I seed, only a single few ones come up.
Yeah.
It's really boring,
I
because
had a few that none. It was just I
yeah,
mean, I had them
yeah,
all planted. I was really excited. And then, a month and a half later, I'm like,
yeah. So what I've done now, I've ended up only just completely dropping the full bag in to
Yeah, that's
see
what I
if
do.
I can get one
yeah.
single to pop up, but it's so uh, demotivating to plant out, and you have to wait a month, and you're
Mhm.
almost certain that nothing is going to happen, but then you would rather just buy new seeds and just start
Yeah,
Yeah.
fresh,
Yeah.
because
that
yeah,
happened to me, Chris. I
Yeah.
I, I try to grow biquinos, and I dropped a whole bag. There are probably like 400 seeds in there. Nothing came up, so I had to order some. Like this,
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
they were so
Yeah.
old.
Yeah, I was
So
really out of all of them though too, and planting out some of these old ones again through the collection. I was just like, oh, I was really glad, I got at least one good plant out of each of the KS varieties that I got, because I was like, oh man, I want to grow these out and save some seeds so I can continue
yeah,
to grow them, because I let the seed collection age a little too much and everything, and then I was kind of worried about the plants and everything too. And hopefully that I'll get some seed. If not, I'll be calling you up and trying to get some more, because I
yeah,
went through and
yeah,
I
for
planted
sure.
out everything I had for those ones too. So like, I'm definitely gonna have to get a hold of some new seed from Kang if this doesn't work out.
Yeah, yeah,
We got a
definitely. Let me know
question
if you
here
need
from
some.
Kelpie Capers Farm, real quick. If either of you have some ideas here, but she's asking, what are some good pepper varieties for my cooler Pacific Northwest climate,
Can
which
Um,
you
is
name
still a
them?
little bit warmer than Christopher's climate?
Yeah.
Chris mentioned about the Baccatum. Those are
Mm,
really good in cool weather. I noticed that all of the ahi varieties, they tend
mhm.
to produce like mad when the temperature drop a little bit.
Yeah, so a sugar rush peach.
Yeah, those
Hmm.
like for example, one year I grew the ahi omnicolor, one of my favorite.
Mm,
They are beautiful.
yeah,
And when the temperature dropped, they produce like a machine. I mean, it's crazy, and they're beautiful. They're multicolor. They taste good too. Actually, they're very sweet, but they are very ornamental, and
yeah.
they're great in salsa and stuff like that. And I think for the Pacific Northwest, that is going to be a good variety. Any ahi varieties will work really well up there.
I totally agree. I've been growing the Sugar Rush Peach, the El Oro de Ecuador, and a few of those, and they do really well here in the colder climates. And
Mm-hmm.
it is strange because the pubescents, I misspoke earlier. The pubescents, I was talking about the black seeds.
Mm,
But if that's correct, isn't it? Yeah, I think they're
Yeah,
called pubescents. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. They
But
have little hairs on them.
yeah, yeah.
mm-hmm.
But the Backetums are doing very well, but when you read online, you read about a lot of these South American that's used to colder climates, but
Hmm.
they really don't work here because for me, colder climate is not just a steady temperature,
Yeah.
cool all day and all night, but here we have warm days and really cool nights, and that's what you get in the northern climates of a cooler climate,
Mhm.
and those pepper that do very well in South America is not doing too well where I live. So I would also say the same. The Bacchitums are really nice and they grow super fast on good days. And the peppers don't take up everything the plant has to offer. And you can also pick off some if you have trouble with the plant growing. But if you grow large annuums, then you're in trouble because those demand so much from the fruit. So if you
Mm-hmm.
get those cool nights, then you're kind of just lost.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see here. A little follow up. Couple is saying it's more of an observation. Said she grew the sugar rush peach, but it was in a greenhouse and didn't do very well. Says I'm going to try it again and put it outside this time and see what it does. Yeah, that's kind of what I say. Maybe again too. Too warm or something in a greenhouse maybe throughout part of the summer. I'm not sure, but usually, I mean, the sugar rush peach is one thing I love about those plants is that they are. I just even when I'm not, the best gardener,
Mhm.
they seem to do really well.
They usually take a bit longer than most varieties that I've experienced with. They
Right.
just tend to take a long time to mature, and then once they produce fruits, it takes a long time for them to ripen up. I mean, I
Yeah.
think
Oh,
it's
they
so
do. They really
insane.
do.
Yeah,
You're like, you go out there and they're still like, oh, what? You wait, because again, they're called Sugar Rush Peach. You're waiting for that
yeah,
nice peach color to
yeah.
come out and everything. What they do, that's so true. They take a long
I had,
time to
in
ripen
the
up.
beginning, I had experience growing these Bacchitums in pots, but they didn't do too well. But then I switched over to grow them in ground, and it made a whole lot of difference because the plants are I think they're in normal nature. They grow huge. These plants
Mhm.
are they grow much taller than me in the greenhouse, and they produce profusely. But I think if you having trouble with them being limited in a greenhouse, then in my experience at least, I had a hard time keeping up with the nutrients and keeping up with watering every single day and keeping up with all these things. And then it doesn't take almost anything before you get some sort of trouble with the plant, and then it's really hard to get back in the same season.
Yeah, for sure. Check this comment out right here. Enoch, I just came on. 2 of my favorite guests. I'll watch replay also. Thanks. And if anybody knows, this is Nancy Hood. And Nancy is old school with us all the way back to the days where we're all fans of Ray Browning's channel and all of that. And she's been following our channel since the very beginning. It's always great to see you, Nancy. Thanks for jumping in and saying hello. Right on, guys. Excellent. Well, let's see. What else do we got growing on in the garden?
Okay.
What do we got going on? I know you guys have brought something to the table. Chris, so what do you got?
I have 2 flowering papayas now indoors.
Ooh,
and
that's
they
cool.
they are at this height.
Oh, wow.
Really large now indoors, and they are 2 completely different varieties. So I am really excited about maybe cross-pollinating them and see if I can get something to stick, because I've had the papayas indoor, but I never was able to pollinate them. But I only had 1 tree at the time flowering. But now I have 2 completely different. They even look a little bit different in the leaf structure. Okay. So I'm really excited to see if I can finally get some pollination on a papaya indoor. That would be just phenomenal.
That would be amazing for sure. I definitely got to see that if that comes that happens for sure. That's amazing.
Yeah. And I'm also moving into almost 1 year now with the large banana. So fingers crossed, maybe this season we can get some bananas on it. That would be
get some fruits this time, huh?
Yeah,
in the greenhouse.
Yeah, but I've seen online that many people say that after about a year you would start developing the fruit, and that would also take almost a year. But at least I'm at the stage now where something can happen within the next year, hopefully.
You can see progress happening instead of having to wonder whether or not it's actually going to start doing something.
I have the same issue now that I had last time, that the plant is so big. The leaves are as long as me. Not that that's something to brag about, but they are my size now, the leaves, and it's all the way up in the ceiling. So I don't know how I can keep it going for another year, but I'm sure gonna try this time, because I regret not letting the old one that I had just move on. But it was kind of, for me, that the plant was getting too tall and the leaves started looking ugly because they had cracks in them, and they were breaking apart and everything because of the ceiling. So I kind of just lost motivation. I like to keep the plants clean and looking nice and everything. But now I'm just not going to bother. I'm just going to pull through and see how far I can take those things.
Yeah, that's what happened to my garden too, Chris. My pear trees got out of control and it's gotten so big. So I decided last year that I'd just chop everything in half.
Yeah.
And it put the tree through so much shock that there's not a lot of fruit this year.
Yeah.
So I know, we like to keep things neat, but a little pruning is good, but too much pruning, it does affect the tree quite a bit.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I chopped the thing in half, literally. I was like, I just gave it a haircut, and I was like, oh man, this year I don't have any fruits.
a little bit more than a haircut, probably, right?
Yeah.
Jay says here too, Chris, ceiling extension. 2 words, ceiling extension. He just did that. He just went into a bigger room with a higher ceiling, and you need an even higher ceiling.
I just did, but bananas aren't meant to grow indoors, I figured. There is something I have calculated wrong, I think, with the things that I'm growing now. Avocado and guava tree and bananas and papayas. All these things are meant for outdoors in another climate than where I live. But there's only one thing standing between me and the higher ceiling, and that's money. So hopefully one day I will be able to do so. My dream would be to have a large all year greenhouse where I
Yeah.
could really try for a full size avocado. That's kind of the end
Yeah,
goal.
like, you know, you just like if
That's like a 30-feet
40 foot,
greenhouse,
30,
right?
Yeah.
40-foot ceiling, you know,
Yeah.
it would just be
But
wonderful.
I'm allowed to dream, so
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Let's see,
Chris is
Serena.
right. There's a lot of things that shouldn't be grown in a certain way,
Yeah.
but it could be done. It's just not going to do well. Like for the past few years, I grew what was it? This tropical fruit,
Mm-hmm.
sugar apples. I think they call it sugar apples.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
And so, amazingly, these things grow very fast. It takes around 2 years, and they fruit. And I tried it, and it fruit, but the fruit are like much smaller because I grew them in a pot, and then I have to take them inside in the wintertime, then bring it back outside, and it's a lot of work. And also during the wintertime, the tree looks almost dead because they're not used to the conditions, you know. And so they're tropical plants, and so they drop every leaf, and they have to start over. But man, growing those things are just so much work. I see where Chris.
Yeah.
But you want to push it, you know, see if you can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's great. Okay, Serena was asking here too, and I'm not sure here, but wondering, she must have some things eating the top of her pepper plants. I don't know, what are things that enjoy pepper plants, and what's the best way to deal or treat it? Have you had anything that just kind of gets on there and eats the top of your pepper plants?
Yep, there's all kinds of things. For example, I have like if you have slugs and roly-polies and stuff like that,
Slugs.
they'll crawl onto the pepper plants and eat the top. And you don't see them when you come out, but if you come out at night, you may see them. So those are
you gotta get in the middle of the night for those guys.
Yeah, they're usually the biggest culprit. They love to just climb on and just chew everything off. There's other pests that also chew, of course, like caterpillars. If you have hornworms, they'll decimate the whole plant overnight.
Yeah.
But roly-polies is what I'm dealing with right now. It doesn't affect the larger plants, but if you have baby plants, man, those things just like
the young baby ones.
But check to see if there's slugs, they or snails. Sometimes snails, they're tiny snails, and they'll climb and they'll eat the leaves and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's several different things that'll start eating and munching plants and doing that sort of thing. And it's, for me, I got tons of slugs and snails. We have earwigs here, which again are another one of those ones that, you know, they don't really mess with or harm larger plants too much, but smaller plants or on larger plants, earwigs love eating flowers. So like if your plant's starting to flower or whatever, they'll get up there and eat those soft little flowers and everything as well too. So those can be a problem. But as far as something that's just like munching and eating leaves and probably going to chomp off the top of a plant, I'd almost really be in the same spot blaming some slugs or something like that that'll climb up there and just eat them down.
And I've also seen cucumber beetles do some damage too. They'll eat everything.
Yes. Cucumber beetles are awful.
Yeah. If you have a lot of them, they'll eat everything. The leaves of your cucumbers, leaves of your pear trees, the young leaves. They'll eat the leaves, your peppers and herbs and everything.
Yeah. Deer. If you're in an area where deer can get in, they'll eat anything and everything almost too.
Well, if you have deer, your whole peppers would be gone. You know, the whole
plant. They'll take that whole plant. Yeah. Especially a smaller plant like a pepper versus some of the bigger trees and things that they munch on. Kelby's asking, Chris, could you explain what a ricotta pepper is and how it differs from other peppers?
Well, I think Khang is the one to answer, but from my part, it's a different kind of variation of the species of capsicum, and I think it's grown mainly naturally in the northern parts of South America and also in Mexico. I think it's really popular. I don't know about the islands; those are probably more Chinense, but I'm not too sure. The main difference is that they are hairy and they're more like an apple, and they are really thick-skinned and they have black seeds. So
Yeah.
so they are completely different. I don't know too much about culturally how they fit in. I expect Kang to know much more about this, but yeah, that's almost all I know about them.
Yeah, they do it. They have black seeds, and they grow very viney, so they
Mhm.
spread out, and then sometimes they flop over a lot. They don't grow straight up, so they kind of expand out, and the branches are much thinner, and
Mm.
they're almost like a vine in a way.
Yeah.
And
You
so
say
there's
so
you
the
see them
type
in
of plant
stores
you're gonna need
sometimes.
to prop up, or you're gonna have to help branches or anything and that sort
Hmm.
of thing?
And I think in the South America, they grow in sort of a shaded area.
Yeah.
And so because of the cooler temperature, they grow much cooler in the cooler temperatures. If you put them in like Texas heat, they don't do very well, because I've tried them. And so I
Yeah.
put them in pots and I move them around, and they tend to do, yeah, like the Mazzano, like they call it the apple peppers. These are huge, and they look like an apple, and you cut them up. They have black seeds, and
Mm.
they have a little heat, but very, very juicy, and you can just make like a lot of dips and dishes, like like salsa and stuff like that. They're great.
Oh,
Some
wow.
Yeah,
people
they're
grill
phenomenal
them.
when we're making Mexican food. It's just the
Mhm.
best pepper ever
Yeah.
to have in
Yeah.
a taco or something like that. It's just I love it.
Oh,
There's
man.
another one called the pineapple ricotta. You ever had that, Chris? Those are
Uh,
so good.
yeah, the yellow ones.
Yeah.
I just love those
So a
also.
yellow version of the same type of thing, a thick-walled,
Yeah,
black-seeded.
there's so many different varieties, but the ones that are called the manzanos, I think that's apple.
Yeah, apple, banana,
Um,
apple.
yeah, and those grow and they kind of look like an apple also. But when you go down into the South Americas, you see a lot of these oblong shaped, and there's so many shapes on them
Hmm.
also. The ones that I
Mhm.
grow now are growing very long, but
Hmm.
they're super thick, so that the pepper is kind of almost just filled in, and they kind of resemble a red carrot or a yellow carrot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they belong in the pubescent family. So when you grow them, you're gonna notice hairs on the stems. That's the
Mhm.
only variety that I've ever seen with hairs on the stems.
Yeah, and
Okay.
also the leaves have a different smell to them,
Mhm.
and of course the texture and feeling. But they are also when you grow chinense or annuum, you're used to chopping them down to promote new growth, and it gets thicker and more bushy and everything. But these plants kind of you chop them off, you just get few new vines. So it really doesn't help too much. At
Yeah.
least it's a very long process in my experience to get them
Mhm.
to grow the way you want to. These are not designed for bonsai.
No. They're long, stringy, and wide, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the flowers are very beautiful. They look so much different than the other kinds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's again too one of the main reasons why, and I'm sure the same for you guys too as well. Why, when I was first starting to garden and starting to get into growing plants and everything, that when I first started growing my first few different types of varieties of peppers was just like, that's what the fun and what's so cool about growing peppers is, not just the cool varieties of different pods we can get, but the
Mhm.
plants themselves, they all grow a little bit differently and have their own characteristics and things, like you're talking about hairy stems or
Mhm.
different leaf structures, or do they grow more straggly versus really compact, and do they produce a lot, or do they produce more minimally compared to others and stuff. But those are the fun parts of being a plant person, you know what I mean, when you're growing these sort of things, is to be able to grow out and be able to experiment with these different types of characteristics, right?
Mhm.
I have two plants I need expert advice on from the council here.
Excellent, excellent.
Okay. I I'm growing something called a soursop.
Yeah, I know that
Mm,
one. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and
heard of
it's
it. I've never had or seen one before.
I've never tasted. I don't think I've ever seen the fruit. Also, I know what the fruit looks like, but I've never seen it in real life.
Mhm.
Um,
Hmm.
I think it's supposed to be a decent one. Um, but I have two plants going now, and they are doing so well indoors. The one of them are actually taller than me, also. As I said, it's kind of a jungle now because everything is growing and I'm not taking care of it. But that's the good part because everything is just working. So I'm curious about that, and it would be so much fun if I could get those to come to flower. I've switched over from only growing one of everything to kind of hoping to grow less everything, but more two and two, to make sure that I have cross pollination if I ever get to a stage of flowering. So that's one that I'm really excited about. I think it's a South American thing. I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm curious if any of you.
I'm just as curious myself.
It's grown I think it's grown all over the world, Chris, because in Vietnam, my grandparents used to have a huge orchard of these things. The leaves are very waxy and shiny.
Yeah.
It does take a long time to fruit, so you're going to have some patience. Some of the soursop could be like the size of an apple. Some could be as big as like a jackfruit.
Wow.
So it's that kind of
yeah.
Wow.
And so the ones we grow were medium size. They're like maybe like a pineapple size, but they taste a little tangy and sweet, very juicy. And when you harvest them, you can squeeze on the outside. You can see how soft it is. It's kind of prickly. The fruit, it's green. It doesn't change color. So when when they're ripe is when they're a little softer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but how do you think those trees would take to pruning?
When we grew it, I didn't think we prune it at all. We just let them grow naturally.
Yeah, because if I'm going to keep them indoors for a while, I'm gonna have
have to keep them down.
Try with one first and see if I could take it down.
Yeah.
And they are so beautiful. And the thing that amazes me is that from everything I've grown indoors, that tree has the best smell of the leaves.
Yeah, it does. It smells
by
really
far.
Good.
Yeah. Every time I go into water, I always try to nudge my head into the plant, kind of just open up the aroma of those leaves.
See if you can carry it with you. Kind of rub it on.
The fruits look really strange. It looks like an alien egg. It's really strange.
Have those pointy, like the jackfruit. Yeah. But it has to smell so nice if you're in an orchard and it's late at night and you get the moisture in the air and everything. It would kind of open up that smell, I would think. It's
and it gotten popular for the last 10 years because of the anti-cancer properties that they're trying to promote. And so it used to not be very common, but now it's like people are getting to know it more and more because of these properties that it possesses.
Yeah, Jay's got some info here saying pruning a soursop tree maintains a manageable height, improves their circulation, encourages abundant fruiting. You should trim off the top third of the tree to maintain your desired height.
Perfect.
Oh, nice. There you go.
Trim off the top third. Clear the center of the canopy, prune away crossings, and all the normal stuff. Right? Yeah.
I think almost everything. Yeah, almost everything takes well to pruning. And I feel like almost anything, like the banana, that's not, but it's not a tree, so it's not working the same way. But if you have a tree, you can kind of keep it at a lower height. I think, like what we do with apple trees, and if you have an apple tree here growing wild, it gets enormous. But everybody around that has apple trees, domesticated, they are kind of just low to the ground apple trees where the fruits are. And I think that has to go the same for all these tropicals also.
Yeah, it's just where it's like Khang's talking about, they're growing in places and things where you just don't have to worry about maintaining size and you just let them go and do what they do and all of that.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting. I'd love to see someone try that with a jackfruit though.
Yeah.
Dude,
could you imagine growing grow a short jackfruit and actually have it produce like fruits? Would just be the craziest looking thing, I'm sure.
I saw a picture, Enoch, of a giant jackfruit tree that was chopped off.
Yeah.
But somehow the stump grew back just a few inches, and then it grew a fruit sitting on the ground.
Oh, wow. Okay. So again, too, that kind of goes along with that it probably could maintain a smaller size, maybe, right?
Because jackfruit, it doesn't grow from a branch; it grows from the trunk, and so the fruit itself, it grows from a trunk. It doesn't grow on a branch.
Yeah, it's like the cacao and all these are growing from the trunks.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
that's
so
great.
it's really interesting where
Or
I
like,
saw one where they chopped the whole tree off and there's a one fruit hanging out at the bottom of the trunk and it's laying on the ground.
I don't think I realized that. So similar to like, okay, so one of my favorite trees, just because of how they look and they grow and everything, is Java Tacaba. And they got the fruits
South
and
American
they grow all over the trunks and the off of the bark basically versus a leaf or whatever. Yeah. That sounds really cool. All right, real quick here though, before we got to finish up here again. This time is flying, you guys. Man, I want to hang out and talk, man. I got you guys here together, but time is flying by. All right, real quick here for King. Janet was asking just a little bit ago, is apple from seed meant for aged cider? Since apple genetics cause random results every time, I've read what you did is traditional way to people tried for best cider to ferment or keep. Right? Is that something you're familiar with as far as the idea of like growing something for seed? Because we always hear that all the time. It's like if you're going to grow something like a apple or an orange or lemons or things from seeds, is that it could be just you get a wide variety of results.
Yeah, that's right. Because growing an apple from seed, you don't know what you're going to get. You might get a good apple. You might get a bad apple. It's because of the cross pollination. And so there are specifically apples made for only cider. And I did order some branches, those scions, and I grafted onto mine just for the specific reason. I want to see what apple cider tastes like. But there's a few varieties that they only use it to make cider. And there's a few varieties that are only made for fresh eating. And so on my tree, it has all kinds of different ones. I grafted all of them on there.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. So again, I mean, and if you don't know what you're going to get or the variety or that sort of stuff, most all those really kind of interesting crossed weird apples out there probably make a pretty good cider or those types of things if you're going to do them with them too. So versus like a fresh eating apple you might enjoy for its flavor off.
That's why people buy grafted tree, because they want to know for sure that's what they're getting instead of growing it from seed where you're really not going to know what you're going to get.
Exactly. Right on. Let's see here too. Kelpie was also asking if you were going to make a fermented hot sauce, what pepper would you use and why?
So I've made a ton of fermented hot sauce in the past. I've used from Chinense varieties to the regular annuum. And I kind of like the Chinense variety when I make fermented hot sauce because the aroma is just amazing.
There you go.
So that's just for personal reason. But fermented hot sauce like srirachas and stuff like that, they make from the jalapeno.
Yeah.
And so you can, I think you can make it pretty much from any varieties of peppers.
Yeah. Nope was saying I'd use jalapenos.
Yeah, there you go. See?
And then because I don't like too hot of sauce and it has a good grassy green flavor, but not too hot. I think that's kind of the bigger key here, right? Is how hot do you want it, right?
And Chinense, they do have a more aromatic flavor. Like a lot of them smells very fruity. And so that's the reason why I really liked it in the fermented sauce, because it really has this great aroma with it.
Yeah. Have you heard of what is it, Scorcho? Okay, I see. For sure. Yeah, depending on how hot you want it, for sure. I mean, I'm sure there's some really good super hot varieties out there. You could pop into something and really get yourself going if you want. But I think I'll stick with the idea of a jalapeno. What about you, Chris? You do any fermenting?
I like everything.
Yeah.
No. I've always just made fresh. And what I like is a really good tropical sauce. I like Backetups. I really love those with some pineapple, maybe some mango. Chuck in everything that you like, some garlic, and you can spice it up. I even make sauce,
I
and
love
I
the
use
mango though. Mango salsa is delicious.
Yeah, and I've used cactus from prickly pear in hot sauce, delicious, and yeah, a lot of other things. Those are my kind of day by day sauces. What I could put on everything, because the stronger ones is something that I need to decide. I'm gonna eat that today or for tomorrow. But the more tropical sauces, I could put it on everything. I could have it on breakfast eggs, and I could put it on everything that I eat. It's just delicious.
Yeah.
I imagine you can use everything.
I know. Now I'm getting hungry.
Me too.
I know. It's time. It's gonna be time. I'm gonna have to make up some mango salsa I haven't had for a little while. Right on, right on. Well, here we are, guys. Let's talk a little bit about what you got going on. Khang, what's coming up here on the Khang Starr channel?
Let's see. I might do a property update to show you some of the fruit trees because I was out there recently. I'm doing a lot of peppers this year, some herbs. I just got a plant for my parent. Have you guys grown a plant called the what was it? The purple shamrock?
No.
It's actually it tastes really good. It tastes very much like sorrel. Sorrel is like a little tangy and limey, and it looks like a flower. So if you guys look it up, it's pretty cool. You can grow it. Maybe you can grow it in your indoor garden, because it looks beautiful.
Oh yeah.
So my parents gave me a little plant, and I put it into my raised bed, and now it's a massive bush right now.
Oh wow.
So I've been eating those things like every day. So maybe I'll just make a video on those things. It's so nice. It's really pretty.
You got it for sure.
And so it's called purple shamrock. I think it's a Japanese flowering herb plant kind of thing.
Yeah. Good flavor, all of that.
Yeah, and then I have pears, of course. My pears are struggling from stink bugs. Oh my goodness. Stink bugs are horrible for pears. And figs, I'm testing with grafting figs this year. So I'm going to create a bunch of varieties onto one of my trees.
Yeah.
See how that's going to work.
Have a cool multi-graft fig for sure. Yeah.
Since I have multi-grafted pears, multi-grafted apple, I'm going to try figs next. I have persimmons going on. Those things are growing like crazy.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, I got to get a hold of you after the show and try to get maybe a couple of pear scions or something to graft onto my pear tree or something, and then maybe try some of those. Or what was that one? What was that one fig tree variety you said? The
Brandsdal.
Bordeaux. Yes.
Yeah.
I've definitely got to get a hold of one of those for sure. So right on. How about for you, Chris? I know you're busy. Real quick here, I'll ask you. You said you've been traveling around all over the place. Tell us some places you've been here over the last 15 weeks.
No, it's nothing exciting.
You're not getting out of country. You're just around driving.
No. Just traveling to the main office of the client that I.
Oh, I see. Okay, nothing too big. All right, but you're busy, working. You're gonna get us a good update of what's going on in that. Maybe you should do another one of those live streams. Just come hang out with us and live stream from your grow room.
I know, but I was thinking that maybe next time you could say that you only can get on this show if you do a show and tell from your grow room.
Exactly. So that's what I was.
Be a way to push me in, so I'm glad to do that next time.
I think everybody loved that live stream you did that last time. You got to do more of those because it's just simple. When you got some time and you're hanging out in there, you just turn the camera on and you get going. You don't got to do no editing. Don't have to do no uploading or nothing. You just come and hang out with everybody.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking
put on that cool contraption you had on your head too, and
helmet cam, man. Yeah, of course. Yeah, but I'm considering maybe next week dropping a video on the second channel that I'm going to start at some point. About the way I redesigned the grow station that we have, Khang, the small.
Oh yeah, the one you printed up.
No, no, not the one that I printed, but the actual one that Botanium, I think it's called. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we did some electronics with that and everything, and I made I think it's the best technical, best made video that I've ever made. So I'm keen to just drop it and see. So if I do so, I will let you guys know, and you have to check it out. But yeah, hopefully I can get into. I've been the last year now, I've been very much from week to week on what the future will look like for me and the day-to-day work that I have.
Yep.
Now it's decided. I know for a fact what I'm going to be doing for the next 2 years. So it's very exciting for me, and hopefully I can really start looking into a plan where I can get more back into making videos. I want to make technical videos about programming and the different projects, the greenhouse project and everything. And I also should get back into making videos on the grow room, because it is exciting and people would like to see. And now when it's grown in, it's more fun. So hopefully my calendar.
I think it's really, especially because of how unique and the things that you do is so, you know, technical, and these different things that you're able and capable and successful doing. It's just absolutely, we love seeing that stuff.
Yeah, so hopefully everything will clear up now, and I can plan more with my future, and that way I don't need to rush from project to project, and I can get back into focusing on YouTube. That's what I really love doing. But
yeah. Oh, I was just going to mention too, real quick. I know I'm running out of time here, but I was just thinking about this. I'm heading towards my 10th year on YouTube. Can you believe it? It's been that long, Christopher. 10 years. I know, Khang, you've been around a lot longer than that. But to think of like reaching 10 years, you must be at the 10-year mark already, huh, Chris?
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Because you were just a little bit before me. So
I was looking at it. Oh, I should do a celebration video.
I know, exactly.
You should.
Yeah, and that's kind of my thing, is things that kind of, you know, is like you're saying, busy, don't know what's going on, don't know my outlook, what I'm going to be able to do with certain things, and things are coming more clear into the picture. So now I'm kind of aiming for that 10-year for next season. I'm going to try to hopefully just go gangbusters on things, videos, all that sort of stuff to keep us going into our 10th season. Because wow, how cool is that to be able to, you know, celebrate a milestone like that, right?
And if any of you guys are in the Vegas area in the first week of September, then I'm there.
Oh, you're gonna? Is that? Oh, is this a? Oh, right, all right.
Me and
it sounds like a Vegas trip, Khang. Let's do it. We tried to get this going last time, right? But let's do it.
Yeah, but this time it's
that
only
sounds like a good time to me. We'll all three go over to John Kohler's place and raid his garden.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Okay, how about that? We'll go raid John Kohler's garden for sure.
That would be fun.
All right, guys. I'm gonna finish up the show here real quick here, and I don't know if you got time or not. You want to hang out or not? But for just a minute. But I know for sure it's getting late. But I'm gonna finish up here real quick, and thank you so much for again spending your time coming and hanging out again. You know how much I love hanging out with you guys, and what a fun conversation and all of that too. So again, thank you guys for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks for having
me. Excellent. And because I'm running a little late here, I'm gonna just go without. I usually put in our little commercial or whatever that we have here, but I'm just gonna go and finish this up real quick because I only got a minute to tell you about what's going on here. Next week is our book club. Come and join us next Sunday for the monthly gardening book club with me and Mr. NBC. We'll be together interviewing Christy Wilhelmy. It's her new book from the Garden Variety series. Really fun fictional tale about a community garden bolting to seed. So come and join with us next Sunday. I'll also be around next Saturday as well, too. We got some things. I've either got a really cool guest coming up or I've got a backup plan in the works. So we'll be definitely here next Saturday as well, too, for another fun conversation. You guys know, same time, same place right here. So come and join with me next weekend right here on the Let's Get Growing show. I'll see all of you then.
Take the run. See you on the flippy flops.